You were in the free speech zone. No safe spaces allowed. Nightcaps with Nate.
Coming to you live from just outside the swamp of the nation's capital. Get ready for invigorating talk, commentary, and debate on the issues affecting your life. Grab your favorite drink. It's Nightcaps with Nate. Now, here's Nate.
Hey, welcome to Nightcaps with Nate. This is Nate, and we have our usual Tuesday guest, Gabriel Vasquez. Kind of a bad night for him to be on because we are going to address this police killing in Minneapolis. He is a cop in a major city, so hopefully he can provide some commentary on this without violating that big thin blue line. But he is a conservative, a libertarian, so he believes in liberty, so I'm sure he's not going to have a problem opining on this. How you doing today, Gabriel?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I see you drinking water. I had some liquor earlier on, so I'm drinking Diet A&W tonight. Hey, that's my nightcap. My nightcap was a little bit earlier than usual today. So, if you're just joining us, like Laura just joined, hey, make sure that you like and follow our page. If you have not yet, start a watch party. Please start a watch party. Let's get this thing blowing up. We are the conservative voice, libertarian voice, and we provide all different types of commentary from the libertarian perspective, whether black, Hispanic, all types of people. Also, usually we'd have Natalie on tonight. However, because Natalie is not available at the moment, she won't be on, so it'll just be me and Gabriel tonight. I hear a dog in the background, so hopefully Fido is going crazy over there, which is cool. Hey, we're going to start off. By the way, if you want to call in a little bit later, 443-247-5309, 443-247-5309. Make sure you join the conversation live, and you can actually make your point here tonight. Is largely going to be about this civilian that was killed in Minneapolis. I'm going to just put it on the screen. We're just going to start off. Whoops, wrong one. Sorry about that. Go to the right. That's what happens when I am co-producing my own show. 4 Minneapolis cops are fired over the death of handcuffed black man Goerge Floyd after video showed white officer kneeling on his neck for 6 minutes during arrest for forgery. Next thing that I'm going to show you here. The mayor did put out a statement, being black in America. This is the one time, by the way, that I am actually going to agree with this liberal mayor. I don't even like this guy. He's usually horrible, but he is 100% correct here in this. He shares my sentiments. I think that sometimes we can come together as one America and condemn crazy things like this. Being black in America should not be a death sentence. All right. And a lot of people will say, and I'm going to start with this. A lot of people say, well, he was committing forgery. First of all, a police officer's job is not to execute punishment. That is what the prisoners do and the executioners do. Their job is to get a suspect before a magistrate with the least amount of force possible. Because in America, we are special. This is not India where they carry canes around and they can beat you on the roadside and not even ever take you to court. Our job as police officers, and I say I used to be a police officer, a military policeman way back in the day, and Gabriel's on today, he's a police officer, is to get a presumed innocent suspect before a magistrate. Okay? With the least amount of injury as possible. Use what kind of force you may need, but and if they're being combative, yeah, we have a duty to the public to get them off the street as far as getting them before a magistrate. Okay, for 5 minutes, we watched a white officer press his knee into a black man's neck. 5 minutes. When you hear someone calling for help, you're supposed to help. The officer failed in the most basic human sense. What happened on Chicago and 38 last night is awful. It was traumatic. It serves as a reminder of how far we still have to go. For the better part of the night, I've been trying to find the words to describe what happened. Mayor Jacob Frey says, all I keep coming back to is this man should not have died. This was not meant to be a death sentence. This was not even a sentence that was handed out. This guy was on his belly. Granted, during a kerfuffle, as I'll call it, you may need to exercise some things and your knee may slip to this guy's neck. But prior to the show, Gabriel and I were discussing, and I'm going to ask Gabriel to opine in a second here, but nowhere in my military police school, which was 20 weeks long, 20 weeks of military police academy, did I ever learn to put my knee on somebody's neck and to keep it there for 6 minutes. Never. Gabriel, Are you guys
No, right. Hey, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, are you?
Oh, so I mean, for all of its faults, I mean, our criminal justice system. I mean, I think it's fantastic, right? I mean, it still has some tweaking we can do, but like you said, as law enforcement officers, our job to bring the person before a magistrate so they can answer for their crimes. Um, Going back to the training, I know for us specifically, they didn't really go into hitting the sensitive areas, especially like the windpipe or anything like that, because that can cause serious bodily injury and or death. So, like you stated, it's our job to subdue them with the minimum amount of force possible to get them detained, take them into custody, and then bring him before a magistrate. So it's very unfortunate what happened to this gentleman. I don't think he intentionally did that. But I mean, it goes without saying it's just terrible.
Okay. If you and I were not police officers and heck, even now, I mean, it's been 20 years since I went through police, I did any sort of police work, including school. As a civilian, if I was exercising a citizen's arrest because this guy had just like literally attacked somebody right in front of me, which I don't advocate for, let law enforcement do their job. This is a trained police officer. Okay? This guy should know better than to sit on somebody's neck for 5 or 6 minutes. We know that if you drown, you have about 4 minutes to get blood and oxygen to the brain. So this guy's crying out saying, I can't breathe, and he goes listless for 6 minutes. What is the harm of picking this guy up? He's handcuffed, he's restrained, and setting him on his bottom, on his butt, lean up against a tire or put him inside the car and where there's a cage. I mean, your car is already equipped with cages, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you were telling me that even if you have to do that restrain where it looks like you're hog tying them, you still try to put them on their side. You never leave a suspect on their abdomen. And I know what the police officers would be saying if they're hearing our story. Well, hindsight's 2020. No, dude,
right.
You are in the policing profession. How long was your academy that you went through?
A little over 6 months.
And how long is your field training after that?
About another 6 months.
Okay, so you got a year of training.
Right.
Year of training working with an expert. And I think that anybody should understand, hey, I probably shouldn't sit on a guy's neck for 6 minutes. Because what I don't know if he was really choking out or if you're pressing on that artery, that's how you put people to sleep.
Right.
You're not really choking them out. I mean, you are kind of, but you're also depriving oxygen to the brain.
Right. You're depriving blood and oxygen to the brain. It's a blood choke.
You just caused a stroke is what this guy did to this guy.
Right. Right.
And I don't care if he was being taken down for murder of a child in a church. Okay? The guy is still innocent until proven guilty.
Correct.
And so he has the right to live, to at least see a trial until a judge and a jury sentences this guy. Or however your state does it. But a judge, at a minimum, a fair and impartial judge, is what we do in America. And this black man, and not just this black man, but too many black people across America are dying needlessly at the hands of law enforcement or rednecks trying to play law enforcement. And yes, a lot of these law enforcement officers are minorities themselves. In fact, the second cop on the scene here is an Asian guy. They have a very big Hmong population in Minneapolis, so I'm assuming he's Hmong, but he's Asian. So I don't think that they were trying to be racist. What they're being is stupid. And unfortunately, a lot of cops are scared of black men, and they shouldn't be. They're citizens of the United States just like you are. They're innocent until proven guilty. If they're combative, you have a whole tool belt around you to use. You can tase them, you can pepper spray them, you can use your asp, you can do a lot of things before shooting them. And you can subdue them with other cops. You were telling me, and we didn't even get this in military police school, because when I went through military police school, we didn't even have combatives. We learned like the crappiest combatives you could ever see, right? But you said that you guys are learning like a kind of combatives or a Brazilian jiu-jitsu even, just to kind of subdue people, right?
Right. They do a lot of ground training because a lot of fights do end up on the ground. So it's a lot of pressure points, subduing people like that. Some minor strikes here and there, but the strikes are to like major muscle groups, not to like the one fight or something like
right.
that.
It is to subdue the individual. Now, I understand. I've seen videos where some of these people are on like bath salts and stuff, and they can get where they just they don't care.
Right. They don't feel anything, so it's not going to work.
So nothing's going to work, and you have to tase them or immobilize them somehow. And if that includes deadly force, it includes deadly force. All I'm saying is in America, police, I used to watch cops back in the day, like, oh my God, how do they get away with this? Some of the stuff they do. When they go right for pulling somebody out of a car and throwing them on the ground on cement head first, I'm always like, dude, you didn't even ask the guy to come out of the car yet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The police have to get off this us versus them mentality, because it's not really us versus them. It's not them until they're proven guilty. They're not the other side of the law until they're proven guilty. That's the best thing about our jurisprudence, man. That's what makes us so special as a country. Quit being scared of your population. If you are, find another profession. If you are, ask to be teamed up with somebody bigger next to you or something. You know, the way that we used to watch police shows and they'd go around and they would, you know, they were tough on crime. Their job is not to be tough on crime per se. Their job is to do their job. Find criminal acts in progress, stop them while they're happening, try to prevent them, crime prevention. But ultimately, your job is to restrain them with just enough force to get them before a magistrate. And if you're frustrated because the judges in these liberal cities keep letting them out, then you might want to find another department to work for then, because it's the system that we live in. And I'm just saying, America, we got to have massive police reform in this country. And it's not me being some social justice warrior. I'm not. But I do believe in black men rights, black female rights, Hispanic rights, white rights. I don't care if we find a new race of people called purple people. They have rights too. And they have the right to not die for silly crimes. They have the right to not always be stopped and frisked. They have the right to be in their car and not always be pulled over at 4 times the rate of white men. And they also have the right to common courtesy. Now, do the citizens, have we lost our side too, where we're a little dicks to cops sometimes? Yeah. Especially even some of the 2A guys that carry the open carry. You know, they're out there trying to goad cops into violating their constitutional rights. It goes both ways, you know. And so just cuff them, throw them in the cruiser. Cops are paranoid. Nobody has their back. They are paranoid, but you know what? Part of it is on themselves. The first cop beating that ever made major news I can remember was Rodney King.
Rodney King.
That changed everything because we only have more video cameras now. Those cops knew that they're being recorded. I don't know what he's thinking. Now, there is one little defense. I did watch the video over and over again. I'm not showing it here. Is that I did see where he would let off his leg a little bit and let the guy move his neck. But they need to put it right back on his neck. For what? The guy was subdued. He was no longer fighting. I also see where a lot of times they'll put their knee on the person's back. That's fine if you're a female on a 250-pound male. But if you're another 250-pound male on a 250-pound male, you're still preventing that guy from breathing, aspirating. Especially if there was a chase. And I know like a lot of cops are like, oh man, I had to chase that bastard. I'm holding him down. Well, guess what? If you're already out of breath, so is he. You got to let his body reoxygenate. Put him in the cruiser. Your cruisers are built with cages for a reason. You know what I mean? They're mini jail cells. You know what I'm saying? They don't even have padding on the seats anymore.
So going back to the camera thing you mentioned, so believe it or not, everyone wanted body cameras a few years ago, right after the incident happened in Ferguson. So after we got the body cameras, a lot of departments have them now. Believe it or not, a lot of the complaints actually dropped down because they're unsustained, because it disproves a lot of what's going on.
Right? Yeah. There was a lot of false accusation against police. The camera serves to protect the cop and the person. Keeps everybody honest.
And so, you know, everyone's like wanting cameras because they're thinking there's a lot of police corruption, and I'm not denying that there is. I mean, there's bad apples mixed within the good apples. I'm not denying that at all. Mm-hmm. But what I don't think, a lot of people think it's institutional racism, but I don't think that is. So I don't think it's racist as an institution. I believe there's racism within the institution, just like with anything. So I think there are bad cops in departments. Yes.
I'll tell you. If as a cop you see, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, man. If you see a group of black men walking down the street and their pants are half pulled down and stuff, cops are looking at them a lot closer than a group of white kids walking down the street, you know, with their backpacks on, looking like they just left school. I know it sounds bad, but it's conditioning. It's conditioning
let's flip it the other way, though. Mm-hmm. You know, we're patrolling an area that's primarily of one demographic. Uh-huh. Pick your demographic. It could be 90% of one demographic. Doesn't matter what it is. And we see someone of another race in that area. And that area is notoriously known for drugs, gang violence. What do we think as police officers? This
Why
guy's going to go
why
buy
is
drugs
this group of people in this area? Is there about to be a gang shooting or
they're
drug dealing?
making a drug purchase, and
Yeah.
and that's how we look at it sometimes.
Here's how I look at it. This is why I could probably never be a cop nowadays. I look at it as they have just as much right to walk down that street as anybody else. And yes, you
Absolutely.
can surveil them. You can tail them. You can do whatever you want. But all this stop and frisk and stuff, the Constitution was never set up that way. And if we want to change it, that's fine. We have this thing called the Constitutional Amendment. It's hard on purpose. Change it.
Yeah, I know.
Put in there that, hey, cops can now demand ID at any time. Put in there whatever you want to put in there, but it's got to be a part of the Constitution. In the meantime, we have this thing called the Fourth Amendment. Seeing a video.
Yeah, I'm not trying to violate anyone's rights, man. That's what I'm. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I mean,
you're
I
an
get
oath
it, man.
keeper. I know you're.
No, man. You want to walk down the street? Go ahead and walk down the street.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to stop you just to stop you.
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord.
Alan, seen video a week ago. Cop telling his partner he wanted to tase a motorcycle while just riding down highway. Says he hates bikers. Yeah, so you don't need to be a cop.
Yeah.
Not condoning, but do you think adrenaline has something to do with this? Of course, it has something to do with this. But you know what?
Yeah,
that's the
it
difference
could be.
between somebody like Gabriel who works in a big city as a cop and me who worked on a lowly, sleepy base, as a military policeman. My adrenaline is going to pump a lot harder during a chase than him because he goes through it more often. And that's where you have to get that in check, man. That's like saying, well, I didn't mean to punch that cop. It was just the heat of the moment. You still punched the cop. It's called self-discipline.
Yeah, I think too, how many other people were on that scene? How many other police officers were on that scene? Yes, he may have had an adrenaline dump, and he may have forgot where his knee was, but there was other police officers on that scene. I don't know why they didn't notice.
And he didn't. And that's that thin blue line that we have to get rid of. It's not a bad thing to be a battle buddy. You're not a snitch by saying, hey, man, get your knee off his neck. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, we're both going to get in trouble. Because guess what? That Asian cop right there, I think he's one of the 4 that got fired because of this nonsense.
Yeah.
And firing is nothing compared to what this guy has gone through. He's now gone. His life is over an alleged forgery, not even a violent crime. Does it piss me off when people commit forgery? You bet. Does it piss me off when people commit identity theft? You bet. Does it mean that they deserve the death penalty before they even saw a judge? No. And here's the deal. Use all the force you need to use to subdue this guy and get him in the back of your patrol car. All for you. I will protect you 100%. I think a lot of cops get bad reps, and I'm like, I would have done the same thing. But in this case, in the Ahmaud Arbery case, even the dude that was selling cigarettes on the streets of New York case, where they choked him out, uncalled for. Tase the dude, which immobilizes his body. I mean, it's like an electric shock going through you, and most of the time it's going to work. I know a lot of times it won't work. But let's start with that before we start chokeholding people. Okay? Kathleen says it's called self-discipline. Alan, pull him off the guy. Yeah, I mean, be a battle buddy. Say, dude, get your knee off his neck, man. He can't breathe. Here, I'll take over from here. Back off. And I know people be like, oh, man, I thought we're on one team. Sometimes, man, life is more valuable than that. Whitley, again, cops protect and serve. Come join us, people in the country. Big cities suck. I agree. I totally agree. As I get older, man,
it's fun. It's fun, but I mean, I do like the.
When I was younger,
life.
When I was younger, you couldn't get me. I was a city guy. I would have had a penthouse in New York, high life. As I hit my 30s and then 40s, man, give me a boat and a fishing line. I'm down with that, and a golf club and a golf course. I'm down. All right.
You brought up an interesting point as how policing is different in the big city as opposed to being out in the rural area. Completely different. So I know people are trying to talk about standardizing policing or police training. It's going to be kind of difficult, especially when you have inner city policing as opposed to policing out in the rural areas. I'm not talking about like how you talk to somebody, but I mean the crimes are a little bit different.
The crimes are different. They're more, you're drunk and disorderly,
right?
DUIs. And I understand, and I feel for you guys, man. People in New York City, they don't even make enough money to live in their own city as rookie cops, and they're in a no-win battle against a liberal mayor. I am not a liberal. What I am is a constitutionalist. I am down with tough on crime. Be tough on it, especially violent crime. Nip it in the bud. I am not one of those social justice warriors. What I am saying, though, is that as a libertarian, if a black man has to be subdued, you subdue him, pick him up, put him in the car, leave him be until he gets to the judge.
Any person in general. It doesn't matter what color they are. Just a person in general.
Yeah, I shouldn't even say that. You're right.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter what colors.
It just seems to happen to a lot of, black people make up 13% of the United States. And if they make up 26% of the violent arrests, I'll attribute to some of that is, hey, maybe it's just inner city life. The rest of that is just cops being too tough on people. And I know what it's like. I can figure it out. If you're in New York City and you're in a no bail situation, you've arrested this guy 5 times in a week, you kind of want to take you kind of want to teach him a little lesson, but that's not your job. Find another police department to work in or another profession. Go be a mall cop. Okay, but if you're a real cop,
if you're dealing with the same demographic over and over, of course there's going to be more incidents with that demographic.
I agree with that.
But I mean that's not taken away from that at all. I totally agree with you.
Totally agree.
We shouldn't violate these guys' rights. Anybody's rights.
Even if
doesn't matter what color they are.
Even if you're frustrated that it's a revolving door and you see them, it just put you in jail yesterday and you're already back out here causing crime.
That's not on us, man. That's not our job.
It's not your job. Your job is to go with the flow, go with the system, put them right back in jail, and hopefully something will stick eventually. If you don't like it, go be a sheriff's deputy in Northern Michigan. They would love to have you. You know what I'm saying? They would love to have you. But if you like the thrill, the chase, and all that, that's good. But chase bad guys and then use only enough force in order to get them.
This has been Nightcaps with Nate. Please join Nate for a nightcap every weeknight at 9 Eastern here on Facebook Live.